Controversial push for the government to encourage poor families to have fewer children. A Gold Coast paediatrician says urgent action is needed to reduce the number of kids from disadvantaged backgrounds ending up in care. Professor Peter Jones thinks the government should consider policies that encourage families to have less children.
I'm looking at Ross's face right now. Let's bring him in. Let's get today's take on this with Ross Greenwood. Shirley Horton's also here as well. I just do want to go talk to Ross because of his face in that.
He had really that cat's bum.
That puckered look. Roscoe,
this is so hard.
I mean, look, we all know there's a problem with foster care in this country and that there's too many kids in it. There's a problem with the system there and it's hard.
Yes.
But is this the answer?
Well, OK, what happened to Peter Costello? One for mum, one for dad and one for the nation, right? We want to have more population. Australia needs more population. That's the reason why we paid people to have more kids, because we needed more population. But what we found is that we can also bring people in from overseas. The reason for that is we've got a rapidly ageing population. We don't have enough taxpayers to pay for the older Australians. The situation is getting dramatically worse, so we need many more younger taxpayers. That's what we need. Problem is, in Australia, that many, and let's be really honest about this, it is brutally honest, it's hard, but it's actually the truth. People are being paid to have children. The government is paying significant amounts of money for people to have children, and the more children they have, the more money they make. And so as a result, if you are somebody who is on very low income, maybe without work, you are actually advantaged by having more children. And so the problem of foster care and the caring of children, and many are looked after very well, I've got no doubt, but the issues are that because people are being paid. So let's say, for example, you have a baby, up front, $532. There's a supplement on top of that, almost $1,600. Then parental pay, you get 18 weeks if you're working, which works out to about $672 per week for 18 weeks. Then family tax benefits A works out to $182 per fortnight, $4,700 per year. Family tax benefits B, about the same. So in other words, you're basically, before you've even got your pension, you're basically 10 grand to the good per year.
Yeah,
so you have more children.
Can I just jump in though? It costs more than 10 grand to raise a child. Like all of the food that you have to buy,
No.
Yeah, it does.
No, it depends on where you're shopping, it depends on where you live, and it depends on your family circumstances. No, many of these families are actually making money by having more children.
Wait a second. I just want to say, just because I've come from families that are working class, that live below the poverty line, that do this sort of stuff. Nobody is out there having sex to get paid by the government so they can have children. That is a mindset that people here are not having. They're not.
Stop. They do. You're talking about working class families, people who go to work. They don't, because they budget and do all that sort of stuff.
No, below working class families. Okay. People are on pensions.
People are on pensions. You've got young people where the problem is with welfare, with kids going to foster homes, who are literally sitting there and saying, I get money from the government if I have a child. Do not believe that this is not happening. It is happening in Australia right now.
I believe that. I don't believe it.
So what's the answer?
Well, it's a really tough one, because what do? Say we're going to take the money away? Well, you can't do that, because deserving families or working class families end up not having the sort of money that they require to make certain that they've got a standard of living to bring that kid up well.
What about we don't make it about money? What about we make it about education and about contraception, about teaching people? Don't
you think there's enough of that around already?
I don't think there is.
Clearly
not the way that it's happening. And I think it's one of those things. Again, I disagree that you're making money by having a child. I don't know a single parent who isn't going, oh my God, do you know how much nappies cost? Or do you know, childcare, this, that and the other. There are so many expenses that I think they'll always be worse off. They're not going to be better off because of a bit of a handout from the government.
I'm only trying to tell you what is happening in our society right now. Now, I'm
from whose perspective?
From the perspective of young people who don't know enough to understand that they sit there and see thousands of dollars they've never seen in their life. And frankly, but
they're not sitting there going, I like you too. Let's have sex and make money off our babies. No one's saying that. They're just having sex and going, holy cow, we can make more money if we have... I mean, that's a side junct of them actually having sex and putting babies out there. It's a thing about... It's going back to the chicken or egg thing, really, isn't it? We have to go back to the eggs and say, how are you going to control this and how are we going to, make contraception free?
How are you going to stop people having sex?
Well, you can't, and that's why this is a ridiculous argument.
Can I just ask a question, though? If the government's plan is to encourage people to have children so that they will eventually pay for the older generation. How does this make any sense?
Okay, so around about a third of the amount of money that the government collects every year, right, goes out in welfare. Now, we're talking pensioners, but we're talking family tax benefits A and B. The Australian taxpayer who goes to work every day is significantly subsidising those people who are on welfare. That's what this is all about. This is also about making certain the kids who are born in this country are properly looked after and cared for as well.
Shirley, final word.
I just think the most important thing is exactly that. The kids need to be looked after. It can't come down to money. It has to come down to education, caring, and that the government, if it is a foster situation where they're not safe in their home, then the government cops it and pays their 70 grand a year to look after that child. No question.
All right, look, we have to go. We had other topics, but that's opened up the can of worms. Let us know what you think. Am I in the wrong? Ross might be right. I don't know. He probably does know, but I don't know. Let me know. Go on to
Do you
Facebook.
go with money or do you go with emotion?
Go on to Facebook, go on to Twitter, because I'd love to continue this conversation because I find this a really interesting topic. Ross,
disturbing.
good to see you.
There's no doubt
It is
it's
disturbing.
disturbing.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
thank you, both.
Shell, good to see you.
Just ahead, Father Knows Best, the hilariously honest parenting advice taking the internet by storm.